Info share, top down, bottom up, laterally. Creative discussion is brainstorming, blue sky, going to come up with some ideas, throw a bunch of ideas against the wall, no bad ones, right? Just kind of brainstorming. And then consensus decision is discussion and debate, and we're going to come up, but we're going to leave with the decision. Don't allow anyone in your company to make a decision and then walk out of the meeting and go, yeah, I know, but I didn't really agree with that, right? That has to stop today. We agreed in the room that that was the decision. We left all the debate now in the room. We're agreeing with consensus that we were all heard, and we agree this is the best solution for the team. It may not be the one that I wanted, but it's the one that we're going with. Okay? Consensus decision. Finish every meeting with who's doing what by when. Just go around the room and have each person commit to what they're going to do, when they're doing it. Two things will happen. A, they'll get started on the stuff they're supposed to start on, and B, they'll stop some things that were merely discussion items. So here are the main meetings you need to have in your company. Every company needs to have an annual and quarterly retreat system. 3 months prior to the start of your year, take your core employees off-site and meet and talk about your annual goals, your revenue, profit, customer, employee, and strategic initiatives, and nail down those goals. Decide where you're going, not how much bigger you can make it from today. Lean out into the future and work it backwards. Every quarter, you want to do the same process, coming up with the core projects that you're going to be doing to make those goals happen. Some skill development for your employees to make those core things happen. Every quarter, have each business area commit in writing to the top 3 things or the top 5 things that each business area is going to do, and rank them in order of impact. So marketing will list the top 3 things they're going to get done. Finance will list the top 3 things they're going to get done. Operations, IT, etc. Have each business area commit in writing to the top things they're going to get done. And then have each person commit to the top 3 or 5 things they're going to do that quarter to make their business area's goals and the company's goals happen. See, when everybody commits to what they're going to do in order of impact, and everyone can see what everybody's doing using a system like Asana or just even a Google document, everyone can now actually see why their work is important and how it aligns. And then when we're committing to each other, the group starts to support the group and starts to hold the group accountable instead of us having to do any of that work. Put time in your calendar for strategy. We learned this from Rockefeller. 90 years ago, this guy was a billionaire. So we just figured maybe he was doing some stuff 90 years ago that we should do. So that was $1 billion when $1 billion was a real amount of money. So he had time in his calendar every week for strategy. Every week, he and his team sat down and talked about stuff at least 6 months or a year out on the calendar. So do you have time in your calendar to talk about strategy? Let me give you an example of some strategy. Everyone stand up for a sec. Okay. If you think the prime interest rate is going to go no higher than 5% over the next 2 years, then you can sit down. So if you think the prime rate is going to go no higher, it's currently at about 3.7. If you think prime rate is going to go no higher than 5, you can sit down over the next 2 years. If you think it'll go no higher than 6, you can sit down. No higher than 7. No higher than 8. All right, everybody at 7 or 8, including a video guy upstairs. That's cool. Okay, here's what's interesting about strategy. Have you talked to your team about it? What would happen if you're right? What would happen if you're wrong? I had dinner 3 years ago with a guy who sits on the Federal Reserve Bank, advising Bernanke as to what's happening and how to actually fly this planet that we're all strapped to. We were into our 3rd bottle of wine together, so he was telling the truth. I was trying not to fall off the chair. We were literally, Norm and I were sitting down, I'm barely holding onto my chair, and I'm like, so, where do you think the economy is going? I asked him 2 questions. Where's the economy going, and where are interest rates going over the next 5 years? He said over the next 3 years, interest rates it's going to be recession, and for the next 5 years, it's going to be recession. He thinks for the next 10 years, it's going to be recession. 7 more years of recession. So I said, well, where do you think interest rates are going? He said interest rates are going to stay the same for the next few years, and then they're going to start to go up to 3 or 4 times the current prime rate. That means 11 to 13% interest rates. Now, for a lot of us, we're like, that's crazy, right? Girl in the red hair, how old are you? 29, right? Every woman's answer. Okay, 29 years old. I believe you too. So 29 years old, do you think interest rates could ever get to 13? Ah, so do you know what interest rates were the year that you were born in, like 1983? 84. What were they in 82, 83?
They were up there on the 11, 15%.
How about 18.75 to 19%? Anybody remember interest rates at like 19? Anybody have a mortgage that was like 20% mortgages back then? They were there, right? 20% mortgage. And we were actually going, this is pretty good. Like it's high, but I remember buying savings bonds, government-issued savings bonds at 18.75% interest. Problem was that inflation was more than that, so I was actually losing money at 18.75%. Fuck. Can you imagine getting 18% bond right now? I'd give you all of my money. So what if he's right? Strategy is sitting down with your team and saying, what does our company look like 3 years from now if interest rates go to 18% or 12%? Strategy is saying, what does our company look like 3 years from now if interest rates stay at 4%? Strategy is having discussions around the what-ifs so that if those things happen, you've actually got plans and ideas in place for them. It's not waiting until that time happens. I was at the TED conference 4 years ago, the big main TED conference, and I was talking to a guy, and I read on his name tag, and it said CEO, and the company was called Cantor Fitzgerald. Anyone here know the name Cantor Fitzgerald? You've actually all heard the name Cantor Fitzgerald. Cantor Fitzgerald was the firm at the top of the World Trade Center, and they lost all the employees. The CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald was the one who had walked his kid to preschool and was walking back to the building as the first building got hit. He survived. His company survived, and I asked him, how did you guys survive this? Like, you lost your entire head office. He said, we actually had plans in place for a catastrophic event like the building getting hit. We had plans in place for those kinds of what-ifs, and we executed the next day we were working on those plans. What plans do you have in place if interest rates go up, if the economy goes sideways, if a Katrina happens again? That's strategy. And you don't have time to put that in place when it's too late. You have to put it in place when you don't need it. It's like physical fitness. You don't go to the gym when you need to. You just go to the gym. You don't eat healthy when you need to. It's then too late. We had what we called our war meeting. It was our weekly action review. It was when the leadership team met every week on Monday for 90 minutes. The first 30 minutes was each of us did our lateral updates, our 5-minute updates. What's going well, what's not going well, what are we working on next week, and where are we stuck? Next person, what's going well, what's not going well, what are we working on next week, where are we stuck? And each person updated the whole group, so everyone in the leadership team knew where everyone was going. Second thing we did is we reviewed our dashboard together. As a group, we reviewed all the key metrics on a weekly basis so we could all talk about those numbers, and if the numbers were outside of their band of acceptability, what were we going to do about them? And then every week we took one of the areas or two of the areas people were stuck and we helped unstick them to move the group forward. That's simple meeting rhythm. And every week, each employee committed in writing to the top 3 or top 5 things they were going to get done that week. And they committed, all their prior weeks were down below, and then they showed if they hit or missed any of the goals from the prior weeks. And it was hit or miss. If you're high jumping, you don't kind of get over the bar. You didn't kind of get your project completed, you missed. You either won or you lost. It's like the Vancouver Canucks saying, we kind of won the Stanley Cup. No, you lost, again. Put your goals in writing, have people commit to their goals, and week after week after week show whether they're hitting or missing. You don't need annual reviews. If people are committing their goals and showing you whether they're hitting or missing on a weekly basis, they know exactly where they stand in the company. You don't have to hold people accountable when you put a system in place of accountability that has them holding themselves accountable. Every week, we coached all of our core employees. So I would coach the VPs, they would coach the managers would coach the staff. Our org chart was upside down. We put the CEO at the bottom with the VPs and the managers and the staff, with all of our customers and then our vision to align everyone, and we built the company within our core values and our core purpose. You don't hold people accountable. You support them. So our coaching was a balance of 3 things: direction, development, and support. The direction was on a weekly basis, making sure that people were working on the stuff they needed to be working on. The development was skill development, using basic situational leadership, helping them to work on the projects they needed to work on. And the support was the emotional support, helping to unblock them, take stuff off their plate, just listen to them and be there for them to bounce ideas off of. We didn't have to hold people accountable when we ran that coaching session on a weekly basis. And then every day we had each of our employees commit in writing to the top 3 things they were going to get done. Top 5 things they were going to get done. I think in your handouts, there's actually one of the most powerful lessons that I've ever learned. I'm going to read it to you. It's called Top 5. It's on the second last page. I first read this story about 15 years ago now. It had one of the most profound impacts in helping us build our companies. This is a true story. One day, a management consultant, Ivy Lee, called on Charles Schwab of the Bethlehem Steel Company. Lee outlined his firm's services, ending with the statement, "With our service, you'll know how to manage better." The indignant Schwab said, "I'm not managing as well now as I know how. What we need around here is not more knowing, but more doing. We don't need knowledge, we need action. If you can give us something to pep us up to do the things we already know we ought to do, I'll gladly listen to you and pay you anything you ask." "Fine," said Lee, "I can give you something in 20 minutes that'll step up your action in doing at least 50%. "Okay," said Schwab, "I've just about that much time before I have to leave and catch a train. What's your idea?" Lee pulled a blank 3-inch by 5-inch note sheet out of his pocket, handed it to Schwab and said, "Write on this sheet the 5 most important tasks you have to do tomorrow." That took about 3 minutes. The beauty of using a small piece of paper, like a Post-it note, is that it helps you focus. "Now," said Lee, "number them in order of their importance." 5 more minutes pass. "Now," said Lee, "put the sheet in your pocket and first thing tomorrow morning, look at item 1 and start working on it. Pull the sheet out of your pocket every 15 minutes and look at item 1 until it's finished. Then tackle item 2 in the same way, then item 3. Do this until quitting time. Don't be concerned if you only finish 2 or 3, even if you only finish 1 item. You'll be working on the important ones, and the others can wait. If you can't finish them all by this method, you couldn't with any other method either, and without some system, you'd probably not even decide which are the most important." He went on and said, "Spend the last 5 minutes of every working day making out a must-do list for the next day's tasks. After you've convinced yourself of the worth of the system, have your people try it out. Try it out as long as you wish, and then send me a check for what you think it's worth." The whole interview lasted about 25 minutes. In 2 weeks, Schwab sent Lee a check for $25,000, $1,000 a minute. He added a note saying the lesson was the most profitable that he'd ever learned. In 5 years, it turned the unknown Bethlehem Steel Company into the biggest independent steel producer in the world, made Schwab a $100 million fortune, and the best-known steel man alive at the time. This is one of the most simple systems you'll ever learn. It absolutely works, and you're welcome to send me a check for whatever it's worth to you. Just keep in mind that 90 years ago it was worth 25,000 bucks, so calculate accordingly. Now this story I read it in a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Mary Kay from Mary Kay Cosmetics credits this system as being the core reason for her success. And Barack Obama, even though I don't like him as a president, that's my own personal opinion, I think he really messed some stuff up for us. I'm going off on a rabbit hole here. He credits this and social media as being the 2 biggest things for him getting elected the first time. His ability to have focus and his team have focus. Pretty profound when someone can literally change the world and get elected based on 2 social media platform and a system that you just learned for nothing. The problem is that most of you are going to go back to work and not use it. That's the sad thing. See, most of you don't need more knowledge. You need more action. Most of you need to do the stuff that you know you should be doing. Most of you won't train your people how to run meetings. Most of you will go back to work and say it's hard to run business. I hope you put the stuff in place. So every day we did our top 3, and every day we did a daily huddle. We learned this concept of daily huddle from Dell and Goldman Sachs, UPS. They were all having daily huddles. They would get their employees together, and they would review the key numbers and good news, and they would kind of go through this little system of looking for any problems to fix. And they did this as a daily pulse in their company. So when we heard it, we just started putting it in place. It's now been run every single day at 1-800-GOT-JUNK for 12 years. They've never missed a single day. I'm going to show you a video of what Daily Huddle looks like at Got Junk back when I was there. This is 10 years ago now. This culture that you see was our culture. Don't try to emulate the culture. Just watch the physical Daily Huddle. This was just a normal Daily Huddle. We filmed it to throw it up on YouTube. We didn't change anything. This was just Huddle. So here it is.
Huddle! Bring it in for Huddle, everybody! All right, everybody, welcome to Huddle. Welcome to Monday's Huddle. Who's got good news? Oi, Baggio.
I just wanted to thank the CSC for putting on the barbecue over the weekend and getting all the staff from upstairs to come down and meet with all of you. Unfortunately, I myself couldn't go, but Dev brought donuts for the CSC. So.
Jeff, Jeff, you have more good news.
I got 3 pieces of good news out of Florida. Coral Springs, who opened up this month, just broke 10,000. Tampa's had their best month yet, and it's not over yet. And Jacksonville, who opens up on the 1st, already has 3 jobs on the schedule.
Right on. Excellent. Right on. More good news. Mr. Jerry Grattan.
Yeah, I got super good news, High Gloss. We've got franchise partners here for training this week. And just put up your hand and wave when I call your name out. So we've got James Williams from the San Fernando Valley in California. Carl Schilling from Albany, New York. We've got Jay and John, or Bubba, from Birmingham, Alabama. We've got Greg and Neil from Fort Wayne, and Lance, General Manager from Barrie, Ontario, Canada.
Welcome. Right on, more good news. Rolo, what's going on in the CSC?
Well, we got a call from Cameron Robinson from Toronto. He wanted to congratulate Robin Creemore, one of our TSRs. He booked a job for a company that turned out to be 30 truckloads and estimated for $15,000 in revenue.
Holy cow.
Good job.
Wow, that's amazing. Right on. And 2 more items. I got Cameron, Herold, and Bonnie at the back.
I've got some good news that the person standing up on the platform right now, Christopher Highglass Bennett, formally got engaged on Saturday with his fiancée, Kate. So congratulations to Kate Morris and Christopher Bennett. And you can read about it on Wednesday in the National Post. Christopher is Mr. X. If any of you have been reading for the last 6 weeks, there's been a story following Christopher and his thought process behind getting engaged. So congrats to our very own and the upcoming year of their engagement.
Thank you very much. And finally, Bonnie Blair had some great news for us.
Is David Christopher here, actually? He is, there he is. I just wanted to say I actually got an email from my mom about David because one of her co-workers had interviewed for, or was going to interview for a position here, and just how amazing David was and how he dealt with the person. So it just represented the company so well. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that.
Right on. Well done, David. And that concludes our great news. As always, want to hear great news from everybody, from every department. Now let's take a look at numbers from last week. Development, how did we look last week?
We hit 15 on Friday, right on our goal, and that put us to 112 for the week.
Excellent, well done. And ops, how did we look?
A little under target. Obviously, I shouldn't go away. 4,400 against the target of 4,800, so we averaged about 882 a day.
Right on, thanks very much. And of course, in the call center, how did it look?
In the CSC, we wrapped up the week. CSC team was at 34%, TSR is 44%.
Excellent. And so, what does it all mean?
What does it all mean? I wonder. Okay, so we're about 2/3 of the way through the month. That's 18 operating days of 27 operating days. Anybody want to wager a guess as to how much we are above or below goal? Anybody? Throw it out there.
3% above.
3% above, 6% above. We're going to split the difference. We're sitting 4.1% above goal.
Excellent. Right on.
We are trending for 6.244 million, which is above our goal of 6 million. So that's great news, everybody.
Good to see you today, Brad. Great start to the week.
Thank you very much.
Well done. And let's now look at who is in the news. Anne Laurie, in the world of development, what's going on in your department?
Okay, well, a few things are happening. We're at 178 franchise partners currently. One of the big things is that although that number doesn't seem as high as development would like, which is we'd like to surpass our 200 goal for the year today, but we have 10 deals pending right now, so we'll actually be at about 188 within about a week and a half. And we're currently trending for 195 for the end of September. And if we do that, that'll make the last quarter a lot easier for us. So hopefully we'll be a lot closer to hitting a much higher number going into next year, because we have to do 110 franchise partners in 2006, which is a huge challenge for us. We're currently hiring. Unfortunately, during our first round, we weren't able to find a person to come into development as a franchise development manager, so we're still looking for 2 franchise development managers. We're looking for 1 person as a senior international development manager, and we're also starting to recruit for a franchise development coordinator. So all those positions are available. If anybody knows anybody who'd be good for it or personally wants to apply, please give us a shout. And one of the big things that we're working on right now is just building out the trademarks and international phone numbers. That's a key thing that we want to kind of lock up over the next month.
What are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to us actually hiring somebody within about a 2-week window. That would be ideal.
Right on.
Excellent.
Thanks, Laurie. Thanks very much. Top ones. And now just reviewing our top ones from last week from our leadership team. Do we have any that I can take down? How did we do in dev last week?
We're not quite there. I'm going to finish that off by tomorrow.
Okay, how about in finance?
We can take off the module setup.
Ready to go, thanks very much. And how about in the CSC?
I need to end the day today.
Okay, no problem. IT, how did we do last week?
You can take it out.
Way to go. Ops?
We did hire the product manager, so it was done.
Excellent. And Brian, our CEO?
It's done and it's getting rolled out to the entire franchise system this week.
Excellent. Perfect. And of course, we will finish with any challenges, any frustrations, any missing systems. Friendly reminder, there's some cake there that Kate sent over from our engagement party, so that should be missing by the end of today, so please help us out at the call center. Any other challenges, frustrations? Let's bring it in for a cheer. I think because we've got a great group of people here this week and because we're in the green, our cheer should be in the green this week. It's a great start to the week, so bring it in. In the green on 3. 1, 2, 3. In the green! Have a great week.
So we had a lot of mantras, a lot of sayings in 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We learned from Jim Collins that if your employees aren't making fun of you, your ideas haven't started to stick. So we would put a mantra in place around everything that we were putting in place, everything that we did. So one of our mantras was people don't fail, systems fail. And it was never blaming someone. If something went wrong, you couldn't blame someone for something going wrong. There was a system that allowed that person to have too many things on their plate, or a system that allowed it to go wrong, or a system that didn't have the support for them, or a system that got the wrong person into the company. But we always look for a broken system or a missing system. Another example, you saw the green line that was on the floor at Huddle? That green line was an example of a system that was missing the day before. Someone put their hand up one day and they said, I have a missing system or a frustration. Every day we get to Huddle, you say, move in. Where is in? Like, at what point are we in enough? And somebody went, I'll fix it. And we came in the morning, we're like, what the hell's with the green line? Like a basketball hoop or something? He goes, no, that's in. We're like, what? He goes, You know how in Lean, like in Toyota, they put like a picture where every tool is supposed to go back into the... So he put a line on the ground. Now it was start at the line, and move out from there. So no one ever had to wonder where in was anymore. We just started at that and moved out from that point on. Everything was systemized. Any questions around meetings? People? Any questions around... I've got one more section that I'm going to dive into, but I want to take some questions around this stuff. There is no way you're flying me all the way out here to do this and not asking me some questions. I'll tell you what, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 3 questions right now. Whoever asks the best question of the 3 is going to get a free copy of this DVD that covers this talk from today. So this talk is called Leadership at 100 miles an hour. Normally people pay $247 just for this one video. So whoever asks the best question of the next 3 gets this talk for free. You had a question? All right. That's your question. That's all you got. Yes. Yeah. Meetings is one of. I think meetings is chapter 6. It's a must read for all employees. Yes, in the back. What would I say to an author that says avoid meetings at all costs? I would love to sit with him side by side on a stage and compare his success with mine at building companies and prove to you that you can't do it without meetings. You have to have meetings. You have to run them effectively in less time, purpose, outcome, agenda. Teach people how to run them. Imagine, again, telling football players, play football but don't have huddle. That's called soccer now. It's no wonder they don't score anything because they run around in the field. I know it's not really true, but...
2 things. One is how do you address the scalability? We're looking at an organization the size in the video. If you're a 10-person current organization, does it take a different form of what you need to do?
Sure. So how do you address it if you're a smaller company? So we started doing daily huddle when we had 21 employees. Okay? Some of the systems can be really dorky when you first start. When we started daily huddle, everyone hated it. 2 of the VPs were like, I'm not showing up, this is stupid. Our VP of our call center, who had most of the employees, she's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, I'm not showing up. I just won't do it. And we're like, watch, you're going to be there, because if you're not, then we're going to get other people who like working in a culture like this. We had a VP of IT who was Russian. I will not show up at huddle, it's like communism. All these people with bullshit and sharing and cheering, and we do a cheer, this is the communism. We have to wear logos on our backs, I won't do this. Like 2 weeks later, Roman, our VP of IT, is leading huddle. He's like, this is awesome. You just have to get it in and do it in your own way, in your own culture. Don't try to make our culture yours, though. Decide what your culture is and work out from there. Every business has to be built the same way. The foundational stuff first. Core values, core purpose, your BHAG, your painted picture. It's like building a house. You put the foundation in. I know we want the Wolf stove with the red knobs. Foundation first. Then we put up the walls, right? And we do electrical and plumbing, and we get the inspection. Then we put up the sheeting and drywall. With your business, you want to put the people systems in place, the meeting systems in place, the strategic planning systems in place. Then you do the inspection. Then you put up the cool stuff, like the Wolf stove. That's the technology stuff we're getting to now. So build your business in the same format that I've walked through this way. These systems that you're learning today are the exact systems that I put in place at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and I was the 14th person there. And we started putting all these in place that year, little by little. Yes?
So you have a very successful business that you've had for a long time and you've grown, but you have all these bad habits and these bad things. Where do you start?
Right.
When you go back today, what do you do?
Right. So if you've got all these bad habits right now, where do you start? You've got to start first with the foundational stuff. Core values, core purpose, BHAG, and painted picture. Make sure everybody can see where we are. Those decisions are going to tell you who to get rid of. Right? When you know your core values and you're willing to fire people, you're going to start getting pissed off every time you see Bob. Like you and the good people will get frustrated every time you see the bad ones. Here's what I don't understand. Why do we spend all of our time on our bad people when we have these great people who are knocking the cover off the ball, living the core values? Spend time with them, everything goes to the moon. So go back and focus on the core first. Those are the corners of your jigsaw puzzle. Core values, core purpose, BHAG, painted picture. The sides of your jigsaw puzzle are your people systems, your meeting rhythms, strategic thinking systems, and your financial systems. Do those next year or 6 months from now. The people systems are your interviewing, scorecard, right? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
One of the things I guess I look at is to make a transition, I often wonder about how the cost of losing the people that I probably do need to get rid of versus the time it's going to take to replace them. And
Yeah. So let me.
Opportunity loss, the gap.
So the data, this is data from some of the best companies on the planet, says the cost of keeping the wrong person is 15 times what you're paying them. So it's actually costing you more to keep them than it's ever going to cost you if you lose them. Now here's another example. Let's say you get a phone call at 12 o'clock today, and you find out that Bob has been hit by a car and killed, or he's gone to Thailand to find himself, right? He's gone. Like he ain't coming back, he's dead. What are the 5 things you'd have to do to replace him? And start working on item 1 right away, but get rid of him. The reality is everyone is expendable. I had a friend in Vancouver who I found out yesterday just passed away. CEO of a really good company, a former client of mine, one of the nicest people to walk the planet. 40 years old, 2 young kids, amazing company. The company will be fine. They will replace Doug, they'll be okay. They've got VC money. It's his wife Celeste and the 2 kids that you can't have a succession plan for a dad or a mom, right? But in a business, CEO is replaceable. People replace CEOs all the time. There's no one who's that brilliant because when they get hit by the truck, we find a way. You're chicken.
It's probably true, but my experience tells me that I had people that were good that needed to be let go of. They were okay. I did an extensive search on all of my systems, and I really found somebody who I thought was great, didn't work out.
So the question is better than devil you know. Right, but you also want to look at your system. Make sure, are you interviewing on behavioral traits? Are you interviewing properly? Are you doing top grading interviews? Are you doing the SIDS interview? Are you doing proper reference checks? I've done 12 reference checks to hire people to make sure they really fit. I could spend 15 minutes with you and walk through your interviewing and selection system and probably show you that the system is broken, not that the person was wrong. Yes?
Actually, I have a statement on that. Steve Jobs got fired from Apple, and the company did continue on. Yes, it wasn't the same as 7 years later. So, yes, it is possible.
And it's possible, but they brought the wrong person. John Scully was the wrong fit. John Scully was not a cultural fit. He was Pepsi, right? He was literally the wrong guy. He went off and created like all these multiple products and services. And then when Jobs came back in, they reorged the company again. If you put the wrong person into the company, they will mess things up. But if you have the system to make sure the cultural fit is there, when they replaced me, when I left 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I'd built an extraordinary successful business. I leave in May of 2007. They took 12 months to find my replacement, and they brought Lonnie Skinner in, who's the former president of Starbucks. I looked and I'm like, oh my God, she's going to knock the cover off the ball. President of a $2 billion organization, multiple units, strong leadership, strong culture, great brand, fantastic organization. The problem was culturally, she was so corporate. She hated the franchising idea. She hated entrepreneurs. She hated the waving to cars in blue wigs. She hated the guerrilla marketing. She hated the PR. She wanted to hire professional brands to do everything. She systematically, without even knowing it, destroyed the marketing of the company for about a full year. They fired her 12 months later when they found out that she and the CFO were trying to take over the company by putting it into a subordinated debt position. Fuck, she was brilliant. Culture fit? They didn't interview for culture fit. They assumed the culture fit was going to be there. The problem was she had reported to my mentor, Greg. Had they actually asked Greg, what do you think about Lonnie? He'd be like, no way. Like, she's great, but she's so corporate. This is an entrepreneurial company. You put the wrong person in the right seat, they mess up. Yes?
Can you explain the 26% rule that you mentioned in the presentation about doubling your business over
Sure.
a period of time?
Yeah, so
how does that relate to, is it relate to personnel, actual growing the business outside of the current market?
Sure. So if you go, so let's say your revenues this year are $1 million. If you grow by 26%, your revenues next year will be $1,260,000. And then if you do 26% more than that, you'll be at about 1.6 million. Then 26% more than that will put you at the 2 million mark. So 3 years in a row of 26% growth gets you to 2 million. So how do you do that? First year, if you're going to do it over 3 years, first year is nail down core values, core purpose, painted picture, and your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, and then start working on the people systems, one by one, getting the wrong people out, the right people in. Okay? That's kind of year one. That would be like a great work. Year two, get your meeting rhythms tight throughout the organization, get your strategic planning and thinking systems in place so you have the right people working on the right stuff, put the coaching systems in place to support them on it, get your financial systems in place so you have the right visibility into your cash flow and P&L. Year three, leverage the shit out of it with technology that I'm going to get to next. Sorry, I've just started swearing. I got to remember this. Other questions? Okay, who just asked that question around the growth one that I just answered? Who just asked that great question about growth? No, it wasn't you. No, the one before that.
Oh, he just took, he's sitting.
Oh, was it the one there?
Lee.
Was there somebody here? Okay, she gets it. She's even gone, she gets it. Okay, let me go into the next section. By the way, before I do, I have 4 DVDs that cover my core content. This session today is called Leadership at 100 miles an hour. I have a second section, which is building a world-class culture. That's how to turn your company into a magnet to attract all the best employees. The third one is around generating free PR. It's how to get the media to talk about your company so that you get the free media coverage. That's critical when you want to go outside of your market of Alexandria, is to get media coverage to help you grow. And the last is the emotional intricacies of the entrepreneur. That's why we're bipolar and how to actually leverage those stages that we're at in our company. A deal I'll give everybody today, because I got brought in for this event, instead of the individual DVDs it being $247, if you bought into the individual ones, it'll be $200. But the better deal is for the set of 4, instead of $847, I do them for you for today for $700. I need you to fill out this form, though, and give me the form completed at the end of the day, and you get that discount on all those DVDs. This is the best way for you to teach your employees this stuff. It's easier for them to hear it from me and read the content in the book to put this stuff in place. And if you focus them on those core modules, that's where your growth is going to come from. This last section I'm going to dive into, and then we've got some more time for questions, is around technology. It's Jim Collins talked about technology accelerators. And again, the problem I have with Good to Great is he didn't teach us which technology sessions to put in place to grow. So here's some good ones. The first one is, if you're born in this demographic, if you're one of the baby boomers, you're at risk of being out of a job. Or your company's at risk of being trounced by someone younger. Here's why I know this to be true. Baby boomers feel like this when they see technology. It scares us. We don't understand it, right? Now, I saw something on a t-shirt a few years ago, and it said, if the rate of change outside your business is greater than the rate of change inside your business, you're out of business. Think about that. If the rate of change outside your business is greater than the rate of change inside your business, you're out of business. People will outperform you leveraging technology more than working hard will help you grow. I'm going to give you a bunch of technology solutions that are going to make your company grow faster and don't cost you a lot of money. Some you've already heard of, but you're still not using. The first one is laptops. Can you please get all of your core employees using a laptop instead of a desktop computer? The fact that anyone has been sitting here handwriting notes has been driving me flipping crazy for 2 hours. It's like fingers on a chalkboard to me watching you do this. Mark, again. And you're still wearing your tie. You are the poster child for getting your ass handed to you. Okay, so here's what Mark's going to do. And I want you to feel the pain. When you go, he's going to go back to his office, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to type up his notes sometime this week, which means he's now wasting time doing what he could have been doing had he been sitting here. Get people using an iPad or a MacBook Air or like something on a notepad to be able to actually take their notes. You can index them, you can archive them, you can copy and paste, you can send it all out. It's just faster. When I showed up at 1-800-GOT-JUNK in October of 2000, I walked in with a laptop. My first laptop I bought in November 1994. So I've now been using a laptop for 20 years. I walk into 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and Brian looks at me and he goes, what are you going to do? You going to carry your laptop from meeting to meeting? And I went, yeah. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. Whatever. He's like, whatever. So we sit down in our first meeting a couple hours later, and we're talking away, and I'm typing my notes up, and he kind of looks at the laptop and looks at me, and we go back to our desk, and he's typing up his notes. So I let the pain sink in for about 15 minutes, and I turned to him, I said, you still typing up your notes from this morning? He goes, uh-huh. That day at lunch, he walked back in from Future Shop, which is like Best Buy, and he had a laptop. He bought a laptop that day. He's now completely paperless. He doesn't own a pen. If you want him to sign a document, you bring a Sharpie and the document, you sign it, you better take both with you. He's completely paperless because he found a way to leverage technology. Get all of your employees using a wireless headset at their desk. The fact that you can actually stand up and walk around and pace. Whenever my lawyer calls, I go to the bathroom, flush the toilet. What was that? That was your invoice, Scott. But you don't feel like you're chained at your desk all day long. So you can actually move, and we've actually been told that our energy changes when we stand up, and our inflection, our tone of our voice changes. That will actually land more deals for you. Get all of your employees using an iPhone. Blackberries, again, are like disco. But you need to teach them how to use this technology. Get someone to come into the organization and teach you how to leverage these tools and what apps to use to make the business go faster. Anyone here using Dragon Dictation or Siri? One person. Okay, I wrote half of my book, Double Double, by walking around my home, talking, using a wireless headset, just talking. The computer digitally recorded everything and typed it up for me. Then I could copy and paste and edit it later. But it allowed me to think out loud and just kind of flesh out all the ideas. By the way, it's a free technology now that's in your computer. I don't even understand why we're teaching kids to handwrite. That's ridiculous. One of the teachers, when I argued with him, said, well, we should teach them how to type. No, that's stupid too. Teach them how to talk to their computer. It types it up for you. And she's like, really? Our school system is so in trouble. Anyone here using Dropbox? Right? Okay, like, wow, right? Okay, hold on to that. Of all the tools you hear, that should be the response for all of them. You're going to hear about 25 tools. You should all be using at least 85% of these tools. If you're not, that means that companies out there are kicking your butt, or will be very quickly. I'm not saying that they're going to start making houses using robots. What I'm saying is the people running the business of making houses can do their business a lot faster and a lot leaner using technology. Anyone using, so Google Dropbox is where you can have all of your documents synchronized across devices. Anyone using Google Drive? Right, Google Drive, you actually have free versions of Microsoft Office. Like, why would you ever pay for Office, Microsoft Excel, or Word? It's free. It's right here. Anyone using RoboForm? RoboForm or 1Password? This is where every time you type in a password into a website, or you type in all of your form information, it grabs all that information, so the next time you go back there, it's all there for you. It just types it in for free, like automatically. You don't really type it in like one by one, right? It just enters it. Anyone using DropSend? DropSend, you can actually send very quickly up to 2 GB files to people for free. Anyone using DocuSign or EasySign? It's how you can actually sign documents. I sold my chalet up in Whistler over my iPhone, just signing and initialing everything. You can do it all over your computer. Anyone using Asana? Asana is a very, very simple project management, task management system, a way for everyone in the company to see what everybody's working on and progress through all the tasks. It's a really, really elegant little system. Anyone using Smartsheet? Again, it's a more simplified task management software that you can use inside of your organization. Anyone using Resumator? This manages your entire HR and recruiting process, including having job candidates fill out questionnaires for you, having auto replies going back and forth to them. Anyone using NanoRep? NanoRep really is only needed if you're running a fairly big online business, but it actually takes all of your customers' FAQs as emails and starts automating a back-end FAQ process. So, you know, anytime you go to like Apple's website and it has all those questions and answers, this is the process that's doing it automatically. Not a person building that, the computer is doing it for you. Anyone using TinyPulse? This is one you should all sign up for sure. TinyPulse is, it sends out a 1 question a week or 1 question a month email to all of your employees and gets a quick pulse in your organization as to how people are feeling and what they're thinking about the organization. It gives you the quick pulse on your customer or your employee satisfaction. TinyPulse has now launched Client Pulse as well, which you should sign up for. It's in beta. Client Pulse does this with your customers, and it asks your customers how they're feeling in a quick pulse in your organization. Another one that you should all be using is called 155. So it's 155.com. They're actually a report that your employees fill out on a weekly basis. It takes your employees 15 minutes to fill out the report, how they're feeling, what they're working on, what's happening inside their business areas. It takes you 5 minutes to read it. You get to see all of the people in the company. Each person gets to see all their downlines. But it's a very, very easy, systemized way to get the pulse inside your organization. I used to use a manual process of 15.5 reports that I learned from my mentor who was being groomed as a COO at Starbucks. Starbucks' financial team is now using 15.5s internally. Anyone using Card Munch? You take a picture of a business card, it pulls the information right off the business card, it drops it into your address book. I think it costs $5 for this app. Why would you type stuff up when you can just take a picture and it might even be free now? Anyone using Skype Video or Google Hangouts? This is something you should use with every customer and every employee. If you can't be with the customer or potential customer in person, do it over Skype. I've actually coached CEOs all over the world. I was coaching one guy in the UK. I'd been coaching David for about 18 months. We were over in China at a conference together. We were sitting having breakfast. All of a sudden, David jumped up and he lunged over the table to give me a hug. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? He goes, I just realized we've never met. We'd actually spoken to each other every 2 weeks for 90 minutes over Skype video for 1.5 years. I felt like I knew this guy my entire life. We'd never actually had a face-to-face discussion. But I felt like I had. Now that relationship, I own that relationship. No one can ever pull your customer or potential customer away from you if you own that relationship. And it's free technology. Why would you not use this? Anyone using Audacity? Audacity digitally records all the Skype calls in the background so you've got transcripts of them available or so that you can actually listen to them for later. Anyone using Elance or Odesk or Guru or Mechanical Turk? These are websites, or Hire My Mom. These are websites that you can actually post projects or tasks up that you need to get done. Give you an example. You know how eBay, you post, I'm selling this chair and people from around the world will bid on how much they'll pay you for your chair and the money transacts safely via PayPal and you can see the power sellers and power buyers, right? So Elance, Odesk, Hire My Mom, Guru, Mechanical Turk are places you can post projects and tasks up that you need to get done. People will bid on how little they'll charge you to do the work and the money transacts safely via PayPal. You can also see the countries and cities where people live. So if you don't believe in outsourcing or offshoring, I had 2 points. One, you better get used to it really, really, really quickly. Or at least outsource to people who are in America then, but who are working at home. Hire My Mom's amazing because you got all these women who are raising their kids and they want to work the mommy shift from 9:30 to 2:30 when their kids are in school. I had a former VP of engineering at Cisco who normally made $400,000 a year and she was doing work for $50 an hour. I had a guy in Karachi, Pakistan who's got his business degree from Lahore University who did my online research for me for $3 an hour. $3 an hour, it's free. And he's like going to like the biggest business, he's like going to the Harvard in the United States. He's brilliant. For $3 an hour, the guy drives a BMW over there. It's a middle-class wage. Anyone using Sweet Process? It's an online system where you can actually document all of your processes. So people, it's like your employee handbooks, your manuals, how to do stuff. I had an assistant who worked in the Philippines. She was $1,200 full-time for the year. $1,200 for a year. She documented everything while she did the work. She was 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year for $1,200. And she documented it all during sweep process, so when she left a year and a half later, all of the work she was doing was documented for somebody else who could pick up the work and just go. These tools exist. See, building a business is not hard. We just make it really hard on ourselves. Anyone using If This Then That? If This Then That is a free software tool that allows you to put little processes in place for things. As an example, you know what Google News Alerts are? Like anytime anyone ever talks about you or your company or competitor, you get a news alert telling you that they're in the media. If This Then That can take it to the next level. Like if the temperature is less than 40 degrees, send a note out to these 3 people and put a picture in this whatever. Or anytime that our company appears in the media, send it out to 3 people. Or if a customer sends in a response to this email address, you know, a report to go to this, it automates the work that we typically do in the background. Now, for a baby boomer, you're going, what the fuck? Just get a 23-year-old to explain how to automate your stuff, okay? They don't know how to do your job. See, here's the problem with baby boomers. I'm by the way, like 1 year off, so I'm really close to I'm 48. Baby boomers always say, I've got 30 years experience. No, you don't, actually. You have 5 years experience 6 times in a row now. But I will hire someone who's 30 that has 5 years experience and the technology background to kick your ass, because they will literally outperform you. The other day, I'm sitting in business class on a flight beside a CEO of a company, $10 million company, and this is what he's doing. Oh my God, kill him. Please. Like honestly, if he was a CEO of a company that I'd funded, I would find a way to get him hit by a truck tomorrow. Or send him to Thailand for a year, like on vacation. That cost me so much money. By the way, male baby boomers need to go take typing courses. Female baby boomers had to take typing in high school. It was required. Guys, go take a typing course. If you can't type at 70 words a minute, learn really, really quickly. You got to learn these apps. Anyone using CrowdSpring or 99 Designs? Oh my God, this is painful. So literally, like if I was 30, I would come to Alexandria, I'd open 5 businesses, I'd launch them all, I'd be to 10 million, and I'd exit in a couple of years. And Wayne and I could go and like do our hippie thing. It'd be awesome. Like, I'm going to hang with you and teach you 5 companies to run, because you could just make billions here. CrowdSpring, you post up graphic design work, like, hey, we need to get one of these things designed, and people from around the world will submit all their designs for free, and the winner, the best design, gets paid, everybody else gets nothing. It's based on a concept of crowdsourcing. You can get design work done, creative writing done, unbelievable work. Anyone using the custom words in your dictionary? You know you can add words to your dictionary of your computer, so if you spell a word wrong, it autocorrects to the correct spelling. Anybody using these? A couple of you? Let me give you an example. So when I write 1-800-GOT-JUNK, it's a bit of a pain. 1-800- all caps got, all caps junk, question mark. So now what I do is I type in GJ, and the computer thinks, well, that's not spelled right. That's the correct spelling of GJ. So I thought, that's interesting. I wonder if I can put a few more words in. So now when anybody asks me, when they read Double Double in chapter 1, it says, if you want some samples of the painted picture, give me your business card, put a P, you know, and then anyway, they said, send me an email. So I send them all these painted pictures. Now I type in PPP, and the computer goes, that cannot be the correct spelling of PPP. It autocorrects to that, including all the links. So the computer doesn't know that that's not a word. It just thinks it's a really, really long word. So if anyone asks me about my coaching, I put in CCING, I press space, and it autocorrects to that. See, it's not about typing all of your emails. So I sat down with a 23-year-old at lunch one day. I take a 23-year-old or 25-year-old for lunch once a week, once every 2 weeks. For the first half of our lunch, I will teach them anything they want to know about business for free. They don't pay my coaching fee. But the last half, I'm going to talk to them about what I'm working on, and they're going to give me the free solutions to make it go faster. So one of the first meetings I had with this girl, I sat down and I go, she goes, what are you doing in your business? I'm like, well, like emails, like typing emails is killing me. She goes, you don't really type all your emails, do you? I'm like, teach me, because I don't know another way to type an email except typing an email. And she showed me these shortcuts. I'm like, oh, like, wow, it's awesome. All of these little tricks to make everything go faster is what we need. It's not about working harder. That whole Protestant work ethic of work hard, that was a curse. If I could bring my grandfather back, it would be the one thing I would sit him down and say, I wish you'd never said that to me. Why didn't you say, find the shortcuts? Why didn't you say, look for the easy way? Like, work hard is only going to get me so far. Grandpa, please. Leveraging technology is not about Twitter and Facebook. Yes, Gary.
I missed that. What app is that?
Okay, so this is brand new, actually. It's only been on every computer for 18 years for free.
I was writing my notes.
I know. You ran a bar. You're allowed to have a few too many drinks, right? He broke his pencil. Okay, so this is in every computer. So on a Mac, it's in the keyboard text editing section. And on a PC, ask a 23-year-old where it is on your PC. But it's your custom dictionary. And you can add words to your custom dictionary. So you add a shortcut, and then it adds the correct spelling of the word. So you can have like opening bracket C, closing bracket, gives you like the C in the little circle or whatever. You can put in any custom words. So your words can be like paragraphs long. Yeah, sorry, I don't know where it is in the PC, but it's there. But yeah, this is like 18 years it's been here. These apps that I was going through, Elance has been around for 8, right? Guru, been around for 8. So all this stuff is really, this is not bleeding edge. This is old stuff. I haven't even given you, I've probably got 20 new ones that I'm starting to look at now that are even cooler than these. But these are, you got to use these. Leveraging technology is not about Twitter and Facebook. I've been on Twitter for almost 7 years now. It'll be 7 years next month I've been on Twitter. Most of us, we don't need to be doing anything related to social media. For you, if you're doing anything related to social media, don't listen to a 23-year-old who's saying that they can help you grow your business because they've always been using a computer. That's like me saying, you should get me to be your electrician because I've always used light switches and hair dryers. Just because I've used a light switch doesn't qualify me to be an electrician. Just because someone has used a computer their whole life doesn't give them the ability to run your social media campaign. You need to sit down and say, show me the ROI. Show me the return on the investment, the money and the time. What am I going to get from that in terms of leads and business? And then prove it every week. Otherwise, don't do it. You would never do a direct mail campaign and not require a certain return on investment. You'd never do a trade show and not require a certain return on investment. Don't do social media as well. This is where I learn. I learn by taking this group of people for dinner or for drinks or for lunch and just telling them the stuff I'm working on and asking them for the shortcuts and the ways to make it go faster. This stuff works. The problem is that we won't put enough of this stuff in place. If you want to teach your employees this stuff, the DVDs are a great way to get this information across to all of them. I'm giving you a great discount on those. The book is a great way to get them, but only have them reading kind of those 5 core chapters. And then just try to put the basic things in place. If you go back and just do that Post-it note exercise, and every day write down the top 5 things you have to do today and put the Post-it note on the side of your computer, and let that Post-it note nag you all day long to work on those top 5 things, that's going to help you grow your business. I would urge all of you to set a goal to grow your business and push to get 25% of your revenue over the next 3 years from outside of Alexandria. Bring money into this economy. Circulate this economy. Don't think just so local. Look for other ways. Ask what if. What if you could? Any questions on this stuff? I'll take any questions related to, we've got 15 or 10 minutes before we'll stop. Yes?
You said that there's 5 companies you would start here at $1 billion and pull out. So your time spent here, can you tell me one of them?
I would look in this marketplace right now for ways to put very simple, cost-effective websites in place for this marketplace and any apps in place for businesses that need them in this marketplace. I'd even build them for free, and I'd walk out to companies and say, here, I built you a website, pay me $5 grand or I'll turn it on tomorrow or off tomorrow. You could do that in this marketplace and knock the cover off the ball. Wayne, I think you could go out and do marketing plans for every one of these companies and help them put a marketing plan and a marketing calendar in place and coach and mentor people, and that would grow in this marketing place. I think you could have proper recruiting firms in this place to actually recruit talent in from outside. I think you could do a real estate development in this marketplace that would blow people's minds. This is a great place to raise a family. The cost of living, it's free here. Like, it's free. Okay? I moved from Vancouver, which is the most expensive place in North America, and I thought Phoenix was free. Oh my God, it's cheap here. Like so recruit entrepreneurs who are 25 years old into this marketplace. Buy a building and fill it with entrepreneurs and have them start digital companies here because they can bring talent in. Those kinds of things I'd be doing for sure. I'd be providing services to other bigger cities in Louisiana. You can be a services company here with the cost of living that's really cheap and actually have talent that doesn't have to be from here using the internet. You can have talent based anywhere. The brain trust just has to be here. I'd focus on execution. There's more money everywhere else. You don't have to get the money from this market. Let's spend it here, but let's get it from everywhere else. Other questions? Yes?
How do you get baby boomers to understand technology?
We just shoot them. Next question. How do you get baby boomers to... the way that I think you get baby boomers to understand technology, Dad, is show them the gap. So there's a principle in learning, which is the student controls the learning environment. Okay? When we went to school, until the teacher piqued our interest, we didn't want to learn. So a baby boomer is going to sit there until they realize that they don't know the answer. They're going to sit there and say, I'm smart, I've always done it my way. But your way may not be the best way. What if I showed you 3 other ways to make it faster? What if I showed you how to actually take 10 weeks vacation off a year? Like, it's easy to do. I've done it for years. What if I showed you a way to leverage technology so that you could actually do all of your emails, instead of taking 2 hours a day, you could do them in 20 minutes? What if I showed you a way to make $200,000 more next year just by leveraging Guru and Mechanical Turk and Odesk? You know, what if I showed you those kinds of tools? Pique their interest with what it could be. Most baby boomers, if they're CEOs of the company and the juniors are coming in to run it, most of them want more free time. Most of them want to make sure the business is successful. Show them. Show them videos. A lot of them will learn from watching. Or shoot them. Other questions? My dad's a baby boomer. It scares me. Any other questions? I had to teach my dad 2 days ago that you can actually check in online for the seats on a plane. He's been complaining his last 3 flights are, I always have to sit by the GD washroom at the back of the plane. I'm like, oh my God, did you not know you can actually get your seats in advance? How the hell do you do that? You always ask at the counter. No, Dad, please, really? Really? He's still going to the airport and saying, can I get exit row? Dude, those were taken 23 hours ago. Other questions? Thank you very much for having me out to Alexandria. I appreciate it.